Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I just had to do this video. It was brought to my attention last week that The Simpsons opened up their latest episode with kind of a sing-along dissing upstate New York. And as a lifelong Simpsons fan, I remember when it was still on, man, I can't remember the show, Julie, man, it's going to kill me, but it was a variety show. And it was just in these segments, and then they got a Christmas special. And I think it was by the time I was in 5th grade, they actually got their show, and their shirts were banned in school. Back in the day, very controversial show, on season 30 right now. Okay, still my favorite. Brilliant satire, and in my opinion, it's actually grown with the times. I'll admit I have not watched it as quote-unquote religiously as I used to. I used to watch every single episode. Last few seasons I've missed, but I'm going to try to do a couple binge days. My nieces like the stuff, and I like smart humor. I know a lot of it is a little adult, but hopefully that goes over their head. All right, so let's get into this breakdown. First of all, before I even break this down, I want to talk a little bit about upstate New York. First of all, New York State is a large place, okay? Now, I have traveled in a lot of different places in the country, and every time I tell people that I'm from New York, they assume that I am from New York City. Now, New York City makes about 8.6 million people. It's close to 20 million. So, yes, a huge amount of people live in New York City, but the colored area is New York, and New York City is this little area. All this is Long Island. And in fact, when I was a kid, I grew up in Dutchess County, and that's right here. Some people would consider that close. These people consider that upstate New York. Orange County, Rockland, Westchester, Putnam, all upstate New York to these people. I mean, all this, upstate New York, you're not even close. I currently live in central New York. We're going to make this a little bit less messy. Come over here. And I am in Otsego County by Cooperstown. We'll get to that in a little bit. My stepfather just left Utica, which is brought up here. And we're going to get to all that stuff. But look at how big our state is. And everybody just assumes that we're from New York City. The other thing is we get hit with taxes that other states do not for New York City. Now, I want to play the news clip because I'm kind of annoyed at the news clip. A couple people found it funny. But I'm going to have to be careful. We can't actually play the audio of the Simpsons clip, but I'm going to be breaking it down. One of the things that it's not visually shown, but they talk about how start watching Fox News. And admittedly, there are a lot of people in upstate New York that watch Fox News. We're often dismissed in the media as everybody in New York is liberal. I can assure you that is not the case. So here's the news clip now from local Utica News.
A portion of Sunday night's episode of The Simpsons is going viral. A segment from the show appears to poke fun at portions of upstate New York, including Utica. News Channel 2's Brent Carney went around and showed the video to residents, and he tells us what they thought.
If some of these landmarks look familiar, they are. The Simpsons poking fun at portions of upstate New York. The video is going viral throughout the area.
Now, let me just stop something. You notice how even when they were showing the video, guys, they were showing like phone footage of it. I don't know whether they were worried about copyright issues or whatever, but come on, step up your game, local news. You wonder why you're dying. I mean, honestly, in my area, once Time Warner came in, they're now Spectrum, but they got rid of a lot of the local news altogether and just started their own news. So now it's Spectrum News is local.
I showed the video to Dorothy Amon, and she says the video completely misrepresents upstate New York.
It doesn't.
When us who live here in upstate New York look at it, it looks like we're being made fun of, and
we are.
That we all kind of take it to heart.
The video poked at various aspects of upstate, such as our opioid problem and the potholes.
Well, first of all, we're going to get into the opioid problem because it's extremely real here. Even in my small college town, it's hit people hard. You know, just, man, was it like 5 or 6 months ago? I saw some people I hadn't seen in a while, and they were there. They were here for an opioid death, somebody in their 20s. It's a real issue.
The only part that I really chuckled at was when the truck went into potholes because, you know, potholes in upstate New York seem to be like a major thing here, and they seem to be getting bigger and bigger.
Landmarks from around the area also made an appearance throughout the video, including right here in Utica. Even the Oriskany Fire Department made an appearance in the video as well.
Oh, I couldn't wait to show my girlfriend. It was funny. I thought it was really good.
This guy's good-spirited. I love
She
it.
laughed too.
The Great New York State Fair sending a response to The Simpsons writing staff, inviting them to the 2019 New York State Fair, offering free admission and parking passes, and a basket of New York State food.
And let's stop that. Just so everybody understands, The Simpsons has had a long-running bromance with upstate New York. They were here this summer. Cooperstown's I used to head the video department at the largest Little League, I guess you would call it, camp in the world, Cooperstown Dreams Park. A great place to go. I would totally recommend it. It's a little pricey. It's tough to get in. You have to really schedule it, sometimes 1-2 seasons in advance. But the Hall of Fame, 15 minutes from there. And they inducted Homer Simpson in this last summer. There's Wade Boggs. Here's Ozzie Smith. Is that Sachs right there? That may be Steve Sachs. No, Mike Scioscia, I believe that might be also. I can't tell you for sure. Scioscia's actually in the episode. But, I mean, they've mentioned Albany, Herkimer, Utica, all before, because a lot of the writers are actually from upstate New York. And you can kind of tell because, again, they freaking nailed it. Now, I'm going to mute this, and I'm going to jump to the actual episode. And we're going to just take it from here, and I'm going to pause it at different spots. So one of the first things that you're going to see here is Toys R Us and Jeffrey hanging himself. Staple of my childhood, gone. Retail, done. I can vividly remember picking out my first real mountain bike as a kid and getting it for my birthday and going there and getting my Sega Genesis cartridge edition of Super Street Fighter 2. Pretty much no longer in existence. I've still drive by some of the areas and, I think it's pretty much over this year. So, spot on. I know suicide is not something to joke about, but obviously Toys R Us has died. Now, again, when they start talking about Fox News, I got to tell you guys, Ron Paul, this is dead right too. Circuit City, so many store closings. Even the stores that are open here, guys, even my local TJ Maxx, you look at the lights, they're down. Denny's, down. It's sad. And it's upsetting because this is all real. We do have deteriorating roads. I don't understand why we can't make an economy here. Albany is the capital, and there's so much corruption that goes on there. It's hard for me to believe that we couldn't make it. And by the way, the scenery here, pretty spot on. Now, one of the other things, and I want to pause it just for a second because God forbid I get a copy strike. One of the other things they talk about is there's no nice areas. That's also not true. Utica isn't as terrible as they're making it out. We'll get there in a second. But Saratoga Springs, for instance, is pretty gorgeous. Saratoga, one of the charms of upstate New York is the people are pretty decent. Yeah, we have varying weather. The winters are cold, but it's really, really nice when spring gets here and summer gets here. And Saratoga, famous racetrack, that is kind of like, I would say, the richest and nicest area of upstate New York. Don't get me wrong, there's suburbs in Albany, Rensselaer that are very nice, but there's suburbs in Albany like Troy and Schenectady and Rotterdam that aren't the greatest. The same when you're talking about, I'm wearing my Red Jug pub shirt. That's a bar that actually I used to manage. We're going to get to the alcohol. That's spot on. Out in Cortland it began. I managed the one in Oneonta. There's now one all the way out by Rochester. And they're about to open one in Binghamton. Literally all over the corners of New York except for in the city where, let me tell you, the taxes are even more ridiculous. So let's go back here. They're talking about the drinking. Oh, I want to bring it back. I hit the wrong little thing. They're talking about the drinking here, and I'm not proud of the amount of drinking and driving that goes on, but, they make the joke here when cheersing police officers, right? Oh, I went back a little too far, but it's coming up. Cheersing police officers on the road with beer, and kind of accurate. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to throw a lot of the local police under the bus, but if you don't think drinking and driving's a thing, it is. Buffalo Wings notorious. I know everybody thinks that's just a Buffalo and a Rochester thing, but I enjoyed some last weekend. I'd say, really, and I hate to throw them under the bus, they kind of have weak wings compared to a lot of the other places in New York. Now, Utica. Not as terrible a city. But let me say this. When you're talking about closed at night, in the majority of upstate New York, that is true. In fact, I was talking about Saratoga Springs a minute ago, right? There was an instance where I went to a Red Hot Chili Peppers and Stone Temple Pilots concert. We left Saratoga Springs. We went through Albany. I was dumb enough not to get gas then, and we were on our way to Oneonta. There was not another gas station open for 80 miles. We ended up sleeping in a parking lot. So that's accurate. Utica, however, is kind of popping. Another thing in upstate New York, in New York State in general, unless there's county ordinances, 4 a.m. drinking time. And college towns, I'm in one of them. There are ordinances. It's 1 and 2 a.m. here. Albany County, no. Utica, no. Went there for UFC last summer. Utica's not that terrible. The city is a little bit falling apart. My stepfather, Buffalo, also not that bad, although an industrial town. I'm going to stop it here. This is kind of important. But talking about Utica, Rome isn't that bad, okay? But my stepfather, like many, just made the exodus from Rome to Florida. And there's a reason. While Utica, one of the things the mayor said in that news clip I didn't play, that Utica is actually growing, and it is growing in some respects, but that's because people in the suburbs are moving towards there for semi-decenter jobs, not the best jobs, and otherwise just leaving the state altogether. Florida is one of the main places they're going to. Now, going back to Mohawk Valley Community College, my aunt actually graduated from there. Many of my friends in high school did 2 years there afterwards. And, MVCC is what it is. I wouldn't dog on it. I mean, see, this kind of bugs me. Yes, it's a community college, but look, they've got it, like, deteriorated and nasty. Why you got to crap on the college, Simpsons? It's kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. But MVCC, not bad. Kodak was huge here. When film ended, when digital came in, a lot of people lost their jobs. Polaroid, Kodak, IBM was another one that took a big hit in the 80s. That was down in Dutchess County. And here, Lotto, also real. Very, very real. So can't argue there. And it's tough to make it. Oriskany, not a terrible place. They're just kind of throwing it in there. But yeah, I'm gonna stop it because that's where it pretty much ends, folks. So I don't know. For me, I thought it was funny. I'm glad they did it. I know a lot of people are kind of pooping on it and upset, but I don't think you can really be upset. Upstate New York is tough, man. If I wasn't doing this We Are Change thing, I'd probably still be running a bar in the service industry in this town. It's a drinking town. This is how I was able to make money. Maybe if you're a teacher, you do okay. If you own your own business, you can do okay, but Main Street is half empty where I am. There's 3 things that make it in this town. Pizza, you can make a living. Coffee, you can make a living. And booze, you can make a living. Everything else, baby, you're rolling the dice. Not every restaurant makes it. Not every side shop makes it. In fact, most side shops do not. Main Street America is very much dead, and upstate New York is a great example of that. Bed Bath & Beyond, another one that just announced they were closing, I think, like 60 locations. They already left here. Their lease was up. They left this summer. I think they left about a month ago. Very little development in upstate New York, and it's sad because you would think it's a prime location. I mean, again, talking about upstate New York, guys, I want to reiterate this again because it's important. This little spot right here, that's New York City. All this behind me, that's Long Island. If you're not in there, first of all, people in New York City don't consider people on the island city dwellers. And Westchester County right here, this is considered upstate New York to people. Guys, they went to Niagara Falls in that episode. By the way, it was mainly in Canada, which is over here. Okay, you can go even more north. I promise you. It gets cold up in Potsdam and other places. Folks, I know this one was a little bit different, but if you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button, share this on social media, ring that bell. If you didn't know, I had 3 of my pages taken down from Facebook yesterday, pages that were started in 2008 or 9, 2010, maybe 2011. I hadn't posted on them in years, but they took them down. They said they had hateful content, obscene content. I've never done that. It's absolutely insane. And then they revoked my admin privileges from posting on my own fan page on Facebook, as well as the We Are Change page that I run. Luke Radowski, who owns the page, who I work with, also had this happen to him amongst several other pages. A couple of them overlapped. I think he was an admin on Fabled Enemies and Invisible Empire. But Because of that, he couldn't even give me back admin access or post himself. So these are times of real censorship. I understand that the media is playing it up as, Alex Jones and Louis Farrakhan and conservatives. But first of all, Louis Farrakhan is not a conservative, and neither am I. And I'm not Alex Jones either. I don't believe in the right-left paradigm, and I'm being censored. So I need those subs, guys. Please share this stuff on your website. On the forums out there, over on the Vote, on the Reddit, everywhere you can. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to be doing a video probably very shortly about the Facebook censorship and my ban, showing you guys the email and what I've been accused of, because it's absolute bullshit. So, guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike, and hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see you soon.